Hey everybody, I am here to talk to you today about some cool books that I just got. I got a big box, and I'll explain the situation in a little bit, but first I want to play. There we go. Got that out of the way. Glad to see everybody here. This is great. I'm happy to be live streaming. Do you like my festive Christmas shirt? It's not Marvel, but it's got some really cool characters on it anyway. Anyway, it is the season for ugly sweaters, ugly shirts, ugly Christmas attire, and wanted to share that all with you today. Okay, let's see. I don't know how many people are going to join us today, so let's just give it a few seconds before I open the box here. But I wanted to show you some other stuff. I went over to my storage locker where I have a whole ton of my stuff, and I rescued a few things. And I wanted to share some of this stuff with you because I know that with the announcement of the Generation X Epic Collections, I'm super pumped because I'm a huge Generation X fan. How big of a Generation X fan am I? Well, I got a few little odds and ends here that I wanted to show you. I've got these two paperback prose novels, Generation X. If you can see that the covers are kind of shiny. I think there were actually 3, maybe, but I have 2 of them, and these are great. One of them's even written by Scott Lobdell himself, and that's kind of cool. I'm going to give these a read through when I start doing my podcast episodes again, because I want to, I'll probably do an episode about them, even though they're not comics. Okay, some more Gen X stuff. Did you know that Generation X had a line of action figures? They did. They had 2 waves. I don't have them all, because I could never find them in stores. Like, these are the only ones that I could find. But, and I did take them out of the packages. I just kept the packages because I thought they looked cool. So Mondo. Jubilee. This was way back before Marvel Legends, so these guys are not very posable, and the molds are like pretty ridiculous. And they're a smaller size than Marvel Legends. They're kind of like, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle size. Phalanx. M-plate. What I wouldn't give for an M-plate Marvel Legends figure. That would be so cool. And his little sidekick on the side, DOA, is here as well. This one is Penance. And Chamber. He lights up. He has a little switch in the back, and his chest flickers. That's pretty cool. And let's see, I got a couple more here. Skin with growing limbs. One of these hands has retractable arms, and to make it look like his arms are growing. Sorry, I should turn the light down. You can probably see this better if it's not as bright. And Marrow, who made her debut. She eventually became an X-Man herself, but she was a villain in the early days of Generation X. And the last one, I don't know what happened to the packaging on this one, but I also have Orphan Maker, who in the toys, they call him the Protector, because I guess they don't want to have a toy that's like Orphan Makers. Chris Pacello's redesign on this character is super rad, and this toy that goes along with it is pretty darn cool. Sorry, if you're just joining us, I am just waiting for a couple more people to trickle in and showing you some of the goodness that I pulled out of storage just recently. I also have this, the shooting script for the Generation X TV movie that came out. Yes, that absolutely horrible one. Very cool stuff. I found this at a comic book store in Seattle called Golden Age Collectibles, and they have a whole bin full of scripts, and so I bought this one. There are a few differences in here than what actually happened on the screen. I can't remember now because it's been a long time since I've read this, but I might give this a read through as well whenever I get around to doing podcast episodes about Generation X. So yeah, the toys, the shooting script, the prose novels. Yeah, they are smaller in size because they are just regular paperback books. That's it. Mark Buckingham, who was the artist, who was the inker for Generation X in the early days, does the artwork. There's one page there's one picture at the beginning of each chapter, and he gets to do the artwork there. And who did the illustrations? Tom Grimmett does the illustrations for the first book. They introduce a new character who joins the team for a little while. His name is Stasis, I think, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. I'll have to give these a read through, like I said. Okay. Vincent says, did you read the short-lived Gen X series from a couple years ago? And I did. I was very excited that it came back, and I was actually happy that they brought back, even though it was a whole new team, they did bring back a number of the original characters and furthered the story with M-Plate and stuff. And I thought that was actually kind of nice. It was actually certainly better than some of the lows of the original series. In fact, okay. There are a few of these toys that I'm still missing. I have all of the first wave, but I'm missing Banshee and White Queen. Actually, only two. I'm only missing Banshee and White Queen. So if anyone sees those out there in your toy stores, I'm a little wary about shipping action figures just because I don't know if they'll get damaged or whatever in shipping. It's not the same as a book. Books are much more durable, but what are you going to do? Okay, Gary says, you must be a big Generation X fan. I am. One of these days, I'll show you all of the single issues that I've collected as well. Oh, here's another thing. I also pulled out my big box of trading cards. And in this box of trading cards, let's see if I can find... There's a few of them. I have full sets of a bunch of those comic, the Marvel Universe cards and stuff. But I also was able to find. There was a period where, like trading card stores actually were a thing, and you could go and look through their big boxes of singles. They just open up packages and sell the single cards, and I would go there and buy all the Generation X related cards. So I have some from Marvel Masterpieces. These are great. And so I have the whole line there. I have the amalgam card for Sparrow, the combination of Robin and Jubilee. That was from her Generation X era as well. There's a really cool series called Marvel QFX, I think, where they would put computer-generated characters over top of real backgrounds. That was kind of cool. Of course, the Hildebrandt Brothers set. This was one of the best card sets. They're incredible artists. Marvel Metal, where this is the 90s, where every card was shiny. That was great. And then there's this. What was this series called? Fleer Ultra X-Men. Every card was a chromium card. Remember the very first cover of Generation X #1? It was chromium. You can't tell from just the screen, but it's a chromium card. Anyway, I have a whole ton of these Generation X cards. And then I also found this one here. This was the promo card for the Phalanx Covenant. What does it say on the front down? The countdown is on Generation X to tease the future series that was coming out. There's a little checklist on the back of all the Phalanx Covenant series. I remember picking that up when the series came out as well. Yeah, I'm a big Gen X fan. Okay, so you're not here to hear me talk about that. I'd love to show you my cards. If you think a live stream of going through my card boxes would be fun, you let me know and we can set that up sometime. Okay, so the big box here. Here's the situation. I live in Canada, and I usually I don't do this very often because it's still a pain. It's still about a drive away down to the border, but down to Washington, and what I would do sometimes, if there's an item that I really want that I can't get in Canada, I will buy it in the United States and ship it to a US PO box on the other side of the border, because shipping international is just ridiculous. And so then I'll take a trip down there every once in a while to pick up the packages that have come to my PO box in the United States. It's not something I make a regular habit of. If I order too much, then you have to pay custom fees to get it across the border and all that. So I tried to do it very sparingly. But when the pandemic hit and all of these comic shops were struggling to pay their rent and stuff, and they were having massive sales, I'm like, I gotta buy some of this stuff. Found some books at some great deals, and but I had to ship them to the United States, and that was fine because I thought, yeah, this pandemic thing will blow over in like whatever a couple of weeks or a month, and then I'll go down and pick up all these books that I ordered. And then the government actually shut down the border, and it's still closed. It's only like necessary travel. You can't just go down for fun anymore. So I was like, and then I kept on just buying things, and then I wanted these Star Wars Epic collections, and I kept buying them, and they just kept building up. I've got a lot of stuff there. I had a lot of stuff there, and there was no sign of the borders reopening. So I'm like, okay, I bit the bullet. My brother also had stuff in his P.O. box, so we shared the shipping, and this is my portion right here. And because the packages built up so much, I actually had to pay a lot to have it shipped across the border, and the custom duty fees were pretty high, so I probably didn't end up saving any money or capitalizing on these deals at all after all. But this is pretty cool that I get to see this and share this with all of you online. Okay, so these were all originally in separate boxes, but the P.O. box, in order to make it easy to ship, put them all into one box. So we'll see what's in here. And I'll try to remember, I have a paper of, I should actually get that. Bear with me a second here, because I need to credit who these packages are coming from. Okay, first up, not an epic collection. Who's a fan of old classic comic strips? I love Popeye stuff, but I slept on some of these volumes and they got pretty pricey, and I got a really good deal on the 2 volumes that I was missing, both of the E volumes. Now I have a complete set. This is just fantastic stuff from the early 20th century. Popeye, when he was in a comic strip called Thimble Theater. The dailies are collected in here, and so are the Sundays in color, and it's just wonderful, wonderful stuff. So I'm really happy to get those because it completes my set. Everyone loves a complete set. Oh, okay, here, look at this. Some more old comic strips. These are from a friend in the group called Dixon. He sent me, he had a whole ton of these old paperbacks that that were just sitting in his basement, taking up space and such, and he didn't want them anymore. And so he sent me a bunch, and these are some more of them. Dick Tracy in old paperback form. These are this is the strips that are collected in here, I think, are from his prime in the 40s, the 1940s. I love these old paperbacks, even though they're kind of a weird format to read comic strips. Oh, I got to keep up with the comments here. Let's keep on going. Hey, at least you supported small businesses in their time of need. Yeah, I ordered way more than I should have, but I was happy to help. Those books, these Popeye books, and also this one here, these 2, Dennis the Menace. These also complete my set. I've had the first 4 volumes of Dennis the Menace for a long time. These are from Fantagraphics. And finally, I'm able to complete the set here as well. The Dennis the Menace and the Popeyes came from a comic shop called Wuxtree Records. And they were a delight to talk to. And I totally recommend searching them out on Facebook and giving them some business. They're willing to cut deals and such, and work with the shipping. It was really, really nice. Okay, oh, what is this one here? Look at that. This one is well packaged. Got to make sure I'm not damaging my finger while I do that. Do all of this. Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Volume 2. This is from Neil. Thanks, Neil, for this one. This is one of the missing Star Wars Epic Collection. Now, I've up until this point, I have 197 Epic Collections. So this is number 100 and sorry, what did I say? 197. This is 198. Neil, thanks so much for this. Very happy to have a copy of Clone Wars Volume 2. Now I can read the whole set. Nelson says, how much of your collection have I read? Oh, it's not very much. I'm sure that you can all agree, you can all relate to this. I buy far more than I can read, but I'm always reading. So it's not that I don't read them, it's just that I haven't got to them yet. Okay. Vincent says, I did the same when the pandemic Diamond Shutdown hit. I was able to get some out of print gems like Heart of Darkness and some Duck books. Yeah, I also got my Carl Barks, Donald Duck books all caught up during this pandemic as well. Let's see. What is this? Book of the Darkhold. This is a hidden gem, or I don't even know if you call it a hidden gem. It's from the 90s. And it is when Marvel was doing a big push for kind of their horror-related titles, Ghost Rider, Acts of Vengeance, and all of that kind of stuff. I'm excited to take a look at this. It's written by Chichester, who gets a lot of flack. Oh no, is it? No, it's DeMatteis, Chris Cooper and DeMatteis, and Mort Todd. So I don't really know anything about it, but I found a good deal thanks to Conroy. Conroy was able to find this at Books A Million for me, so I appreciate that. I am looking forward to digging into some of Marvel's 90s horror stuff. X-Men by Peter Milligan. This is after I stopped reading X-Men. I stopped reading X-Men at House of M, so I'm eager to actually continue on with a new creative team and see what happens. This is from Jared. Thanks, Jared. He was selling a whole bunch of his stuff early in the pandemic as well, and I was able to snag this copy from him. Star Wars Old Republic Volume 1. This is from Elder Hernandez, and I thank you for this. This is one of the hardest to find Star Wars books, but I was able to, thanks to the group, get a hold of a copy. And so I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Let's see. The Shy Warrior says, I used to collect Dennis the Menace when I was younger and owned the last issue of The Dandy. Good comics. So you're talking about the UK Dennis the Menace, and I'm talking about the American Dennis the Menace. I do have some of the UK Dennis the Menace comics as well. They're quite different, but I think that's what you mean, right? This one that I'm talking about is the American version by Hank Ketchum. If you can see that, come on, light, work with me here. There. Okay, so where did I put that Epic collection? That was 199. That's my 199th Epic collection, folks. What's going to be number 200? It's not this book. This one is Skull the Slayer. I have never read this, but I am so intrigued because Marv Wolfman, Steve Englehart, and Bill Mantlo also did issues in this, and you know, art with Sal Buscema and Ernie Chan. Like, I think it's gonna be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to checking out Skull the Slayer. Thank you, Drew, for finding this one for me. Appreciate that. Oh man, I can't wait to check that one out. Here's another book I got from a comic shop called Subspace Comics. They've packaged this really nice. Try to slice it without slicing the book itself. This is another one, another classic comic strip book published by the Library of American Comics, whom I work for. And you're saying, well, why do you have to, don't you work for them? Can't you get a copy from them yourself? But if I ask for everything in the back catalog, I don't think that's an appropriate thing to do. So I found a good deal on this one. It's The Family Circus. This is one of the sappiest comic strips out there, but this volume, collecting the stuff from the 60s when it first debuted, is fantastic. Really, really, really great cartooning and funny stuff before he kind of settles into his routine and, in my opinion, kind of calls it home in his later years. But this is a great volume. So very excited to dig into that one too. Like all of these are all going to be great. Let's see. Nelson says, is that a Batman ugly Christmas sweater? It is not a sweater. It's just a button-up shirt. But yes, check out that Batman, classic 1980s Batman and Robin right there. I mean, Batman and Joker. Thanks for noticing. Okay. Oh, this is a heavy one. This package is from Steven, who was selling a ton of his collection all of a sudden. And I was lucky enough to snag these 3 hard-to-find Star Wars Epic collections. This is going to be number 200, everybody. What will it be? The Old Republic Volume 2. This is my 200th Epic. Now, 200. Old Republic Volume 2. That concludes Old Republic for me there, as well as 201, Rise of the Sith, Volume 1, or Volume 2. And this last one, Rise of the Sith, Volume 1. Number 201 and 202. Very thankful for these ones. He gave me a tremendous deal. He's a really great guy. And that was all thanks to the Epic group as well. So very, very cool. That, you know what? I think that might get me up to date on all of my Epic collections. I think that I am up to date now. I have Tales of the Jedi coming in the mail, and the Hulk just got shipped today. So I now just have to coast. I can't believe it. I got a complete collection, guys. Very nice. Okay, what else is here? This is from Israel. He found me a couple of cheap books at Ollie's, I think. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Volume 2. This is the 90s series. I have Volume 1 and I've read it, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm excited to check out the rest of that, the continuation of that story. Superman, Golden Age Superman, Volume 2. I have been buying the Batman Golden Age paperbacks, but I don't have any of the Superman ones yet. So this is kind of cool. I like the historical, the historical nature of these books. I think they're fantastic. This is as close as we're getting to Epic collections for DC, I think, with these. Too bad we don't know if the line's continuing or not, but we have these early years, so that's nice. And the last book in this package is Weird World, Mike Plug, Doug Mensch, John Buscema, another fantasy book that I'm very excited. I never have really dipped my toes into the fantasy side of Marvel, but now with Conan, with that Skull book, with this Weird World, I'm totally there. I'm looking forward to it. This is mostly magazine content with a couple of stuff from Marvel Premiere, I think. What does it say? No, Marvel Fanfare, numbers 24 to 28, and Marvel Premiere, number 38. But it's a bunch of magazine stuff. So the coloring is really nice, full process color instead of full color, and probably more mature content. So it's stuff that, we won't see in an Epic collection. So that's that. Oh, here's a book I've been waiting for literally years. This is a Japanese manga by Tezuka called Wonder 3. And there's a company called DMP that did Kickstarters to publish all of translations of all of Tezuka's stuff. And this one, they raised so much money for this. and then it never came out for years. It never came out, and they promised like the bonus stuff would be like 9 more books, and all translated to English for the first time. And then we find out they were having financial problems, and they spent all of the money from the Kickstarter to pay their staff, and they had no money left to publish these books. And we all got really angry, and we're all like, "How do you run a business like that?" And then we got word like years later that they actually scraped enough money together to put out the book, and then they made good on their deal. Not with the other 9 books they promised, but at least with this one. And they gave us a refund for the other ones that we had bought. So that's cool. I'm glad it's in my hands now. I think I'm a huge fan of Tezuka. If you haven't read any of his manga, even if you aren't a fan of manga, I recommend some of his stuff because he is a great storyteller in the same vein as like Karl Barks. Okay, what's in this one? I don't know. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot I ordered these. Transformers. These 2 Transformers trades are the 13-issue Generation 2 series that Marvel did in the 90s. So Marvel published, of course, Transformers throughout the 80s, and then they did a little redesign. And let me tell you, it is the most 90s thing you'll ever see. Let me find a good example of how extremely 90s this Transformers is. Oh man, I don't know if I can find one just looking randomly through here. These are great. I have not read any of the 90s stuff, so if this is terrible, then so be it. That's kind of what I expect from Transformers in the 90s. There's a Cobra Commander's in this one. That's interesting. Okay, that's great. I'm glad to have these because I'm going to be wrapping up hopefully soon my Transformers podcast with my friend Peter, and so maybe we'll move on to those ones. Okay, last book in the pile here. This one is from Pulp Fiction in Long Beach, California. It's a volume of Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy, Volume 10, 1945-1947. This is another great era for Dick Tracy. This is really, really great. I'm happy to have this one because it fills a little hole in my early Dick Tracy volumes. You can kind of see them if I get out of the way. No, you can't see them. They're on that shelf back there. Great stuff. Dick Tracy is well worth a read. It is so much fun, tons of action, great mysteries. Okay, let's answer some of your questions here. Adam says, what is your favorite epic from this year? Well, the one I was most excited about is definitely Conan the Barbarian, the Marvel Years Volume 1. I really, really like that idea. And like I said earlier, I hadn't really dived into or explored the fantasy side of Marvel. So that was really exciting to me. That one, and let's see, I was really excited for more of like the Black Galaxy saga from Thor. I'm going to actually read that one over the holiday here. Ross says, no, I missed the start of this. Yeah, sorry, you'll have to watch this on the repeat. Sergio, what do you recommend to read first in epic? Wow, that's a huge question. This all really depends on your taste. Like, I would say if you wanted, you could read the first Fantastic Four to get on the right track for the whole Marvel universe. But some people don't like the Silver Age. So if that's the case, then I'm a big fan of Tom DeFalco's Thor. Like you said, that would be a really great place to start. If you want something sequential, you can start with the beginning of Mark Gruenwell's Captain America is really good, Society of Serpents, and we're getting the Captain volume, so you're going to have a full 7 volumes right in a row that you can read from start to finish. Of course, Second Genesis, X-Men, if you are a big X-Men fan, Second Genesis would be a great place to start too, because we have a couple of sequential volumes there. That's all really, really good stuff. Basically, like, pick one and dive in. Really, it's the variety is there. There's something for everybody. And because comic books have always been, serialized, you can really pick up any volume you want, and you'll get caught up in the storylines in no time. They do a great job with the exposition, just making sure you know what all the plot points are. You can also listen to my podcasts because I do a little bit at the beginning of every episode saying, what do you need to know before reading this volume? And we catch you up on some of the running threads that you need to know about. Nelson says, I like Marvel Silver Age, but not DC Silver Age. There's a big difference between the two. That's true. And that's one of the things that put Marvel on the map when they came on the scene in the Silver Age, is that they changed the way they wrote, and they were a little bit more gritty, a little bit more kind of down to earth, a little bit more. I don't know. If you think about Superman in the 1950s and 60s, it's like, Superman turns into a giant red ant, or Lois Lane becomes really fat. This is the stuff that we get from the Silver Age of DC Comics. Sergio wants to know, why do you think that epics are better than omnibus? Well, that's a great question. For me, omnibus have just been really expensive. I don't like paying a whole lot for books, and that price point is just it was just too high for me. The thing also is that, I love these Dick Tracy books, but they are kind of cumbersome to read because they're heavy. There's lots of pages. Even my For Better For Worse books that I make myself are a little too big for my tastes. But IDW wanted to put that many pages in there so there would be fewer volumes to publish. And so my biggest thing is that epics just feel right. I really like the size of them. I like the paperback. I like how many issues are in one book. But I also really like the fact that it's going from number 1 to the finish. That's a big selling point for me. The omnis, especially the creator-owned omnis that skip issues that aren't done by, like, John Byrne, for instance, then I'm a fan of those issues. I like, even if they're terrible, I really like experiencing them from start to finish. It's one of the reasons also why I like the Library of American Comics, is because they will reprint comic strips from the front all the way to the back, and in order, not skipping anything, because that's how the readers experienced it in the beginning. We don't get best of collections of Dick Tracy. We get it from the start to the finish. I really, really like that. DC is better in the Golden Age and Marvel in the Silver, and the Bronze Age is a tie. Yeah, both. I haven't read a whole lot of DC in the Bronze Age, actually, because I was always a Marvel guy and never really jumped over to DC. But if they ever do comprehensive collections, then I might be persuaded to pick them up. Phil says, I love those Silver DC books. Yeah, they do have a fun charm to them. I've been buying the newspaper strips, the Superman newspaper strips from the 60s and stuff, from the 50s and 60s, and they are fun. Favorite Tezuka work from Zach wants to know, okay, I have, if you can see my shelf right here, this is all Tezuka. It goes down to the floor. I think my favorite, that's such a hard question. I really like Blackjack. I think it's a fantastic series. I love just the kind of the anthology nature of it. He's such an interesting and nuanced character. I also really like the Phoenix series and the way it dives from going from the past and the next volume is far in the future, and then it just kind of works its way into the middle. I think that's a fantastic way of storytelling, and so those ones are great. Yeah, so those are two to start you off. Those are kind of some of his most famous work, and maybe it's silly for me to pick his most famous work as my favorite, but it's the reason why it's his most famous work. Okay, let's see here. Curtis, you never read The Batman from Alan Grant and Norm Brayfogle, or Superman from John Byrne? I have read Superman from John Byrne. I do have that trade on my shelf here. But yeah, Batman is something that I just haven't read, and it's not because I haven't wanted to. It's just I just haven't gotten around to it. I've had more things that have been on my radar higher than Batman, um, even though I'm wearing a Batman Christmas shirt. But I think that maybe it's time. I really do love the look and the feel of 80s Batman. I think that it's stylistically, it's so great. I really love it. So I should check it out. Let's see. DC's Bronze Age is seriously underserved regarding collected editions. Yeah, I think that DC should have no shame in copying the Epic Collection. I really think that they should just do it. And it's like, don't even apologize. We will be fine with that. If you just take that model and run with it, as long as you, the thing about DC is you'll get 3 volumes in, and there'll be random volumes 10, 17, and 25, and then they'll cancel the series, and then we'll all be upset. So maybe they shouldn't do that. I don't know. I wish DC collects the Bronze Age Batman. It's going to take them forever since they're collecting chronologically, starting from the Golden Age. Might have to do custom bound. Yeah, I would love to see Silver Age Batman as well, but they are insisting on getting through those Golden Age omnis before getting into the Silver Age omnis. And that's paperbacks aren't even close to getting that way. Nelson recommends get the Caped Crusader and Dark Detective trades. They're great post-crisis Batman books. Yeah, those are probably the ones that I would get if I am going to jump into Batman. That looks like it's the era that I want. But are they comprehensive? Do they collect everything, or do they? Because they're are they creator-centric? I don't know. If DC did do an Epic Collection model, what would you name it? Like, not Epic Collection, what would I call it? Oh man, I don't know. DC, the complete collection, the I hope they continue collection. They please publish all the volumes collection. I don't know. Okay. Well, that was a good live stream. I thank you for joining me to open up this big box of goodies. I can't wait to read some of these. I'll be back again. I want to do some more live streams, and if you want to look through my box of trading cards and see some of the goodies I have, including Nintendo Power cards that I got out of the magazine. I have a full set of these Spider-Man cards from that Mark Bagley drew in the 90s. Really cool stuff there. And even some random stuff like Disney. You can't see that very well. It's a black and white. It's too shiny. Oh, here's a cool. Have you ever seen these? These trading cards are like dog tags. I don't know why they made them. They're so impractical. But I have a few of these. This was, what year is this? 1996. Warlock, and there's stats on the back and information on the back. I don't know why they did this, but it's so ridiculous, but I have a few of those. Okay, I'm going to sign off. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. And Zach says that he would love to see a stream about trading cards, so maybe I'll set something up for maybe next week. We can take a look at the trading cards, like these ones, my Animaniacs trading cards. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to check out my Facebook group and my podcast, and like, subscribe, all of that kind of stuff. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you around.